Hey there, Silver-Tongued Devil here, and we are back again on another speedrun of all things from me on one of my latest squeezes, which is of course GrimLord. Fantastic game, Dark Souls of VR, need I say more. So as you can see from the above, we are at New Game +2, which means that everything does 60% more damage and has 60% more health. We're starting the timer as I open the door. I then immediately forget everything about how to do the tutorial, try and open the wrong doors. Now, one of the things that I've had to refine a little with how I do my speedruns now is that I've got to incorporate a new start. That new start does mean quickly sprinting through the tutorial. We need to get that door open, we need to get that lever pulled, and that's to open a gate that will allow us to come back down here later, the gate over there. And then we're going to make our first mistake of the run. It should be a simple down here and then jump onto this platform as you see me do before, and then that's obviously not part of the speed run, so there's some seconds that we can shave off at some point in the future. It's not the end of the world though, because that's only a handful of seconds, but as I say, there is time that I can make up. So let's do this properly. We'll jump onto this one straight down. We can't jump over that bit, we need to jump up onto that ledge. I'll get it first time, look at that. Then onto this one. You can't jump down straight from there, you have to jump onto the next ledge. There's an invisible wall back there which will knock you down to the bottom. We have to leap that little gap because the devs didn't put any geometry in, because you're not supposed to use this route to get down here. We hold trigger just to make sure that the save has taken. That's the part of the reason why I do it. There's some other reasons, but I'll explain those as we go. And now, interestingly, our first boss is going to be the Warden. So this alternate route is one of the things that I've done to shave a little time off of the speed run. We're going to kill the Warden whilst we're down here. This will upset the order of things and some of the ways that I have to do the game. I think ultimately it saves time. So as far as the Warden's concerned, you'll see that I have the mithril staff there. I believe it's the best one for the fire element. Yes, we are going to be barbecuing everything once again, because it's just a very consistent way of being able to put out a lot of damage. Believe it or not, not a lot of risk to myself. You can see that I'm chugging mana potions at the same time as doing this. As the flamethrower goes on, it's constantly draining your mana. You're then topping said mana up with mana potions. So that's the Warden finished. Now we can't do anything with the Warden yet, but we will need to come back down here. By getting him out of the way now though, it allows us from this portal to go straight to the castle. Now what's that done for us? That has skipped quite a lot of intro dialogue at the very start of the game, and that is an element that I believe will save a little bit of time. So you'll see me doing quite a lot of little hops and bounces. Now one of the things that I have on my build is I have the maximum dodge. Now with the suit that we have on, which is the High Priest suit or the High Bishop suit, it's the suit that you get for completing the game and then choosing the blacksmith. You get his brother's suit. Now it normally has mana recovery and the strongest magic in the game, but it also has 3 dodges. By having your dodge on maximum, which is 120% chance that when you do a dodge, the little skips that we're talking about here, that you'll get it back. So I can now keep mashing that skip button. So if you see these little judders, that's what it is. Now the route that we're picking here is fairly standard. I showed this off in my last one. We jump up onto these barrels. To the left is actually a secret, but we're going right, and we jump on here, and we didn't want to do that. That's gonna cost us some seconds. I think that's the first time I've ever messed that skip up, but hey, we're in a speed run, and of course that has the effect, or added effect, of snaring up all the enemies as well. This was a bit of a close call here. Kill these guys because they're in the way. Now, they wouldn't have been if I'd have managed to make the skip. I was expected to get stabbed in the back at that point, but thankfully I didn't. I wanted to make sure that we chugged a potion because there's little drops that we need to make that will do little bits of damage. I've been killed many times trying to do these speed runs by, you know, these little bits of damage adding up. Anyway, so we're back where we should be. Jump across. Now we're going to go nice and overly carefully get to this edge. And if we jump up here, we can actually get onto this wall and we can run all the way along that wall. It doesn't save a massive amount of time, but it does save us going down and then having to climb back up. Again, once again, onto the little save pedestal, just to make sure that the save has taken and it resets. Now, the other reason I was going to say about why I do this, not only when you are speedrunning are all the enemies spawning and slowly advancing towards you, but as that's happening, that then impacts the performance of the game. I've tried running through levels and going from boss to boss to boss. The game remembers, from what I can see from the performance, every enemy that's spawned and doesn't despawn them when you get far enough away from them. Which, you know, that's a good thing, and in this circumstance a bad thing. But that's part of the reason why every time I find one of these crystals, I'll try and grab it. I don't need my shield, but we might need that later. I'll try and grab it and crush it to make sure that, as with a Dark Souls game, you'll know that all the enemies reset. That includes enemies that you killed come back to life, and also enemies that are wandering around the level. Well, they go back to their original respawns and just stand there. As we do that from chapter to chapter and point to point, it'll get rid of all the enemies behind us and then gives me the performance. I've had crashes from trying to go through the game, so that's part of the reason why I do it. I suppose the more important reason that I do it is not only am I doing these little bunny hop dodges, but I'm also continually sprinting. Sprinting in this game consumes stamina. You've only got so much stamina, and then when you run out of stamina, you can't sprint anymore. This slows us down. Each time I crush one of those respawn crystals, that then has the effect of resetting my stamina, which then means that I've got a full bar of stamina, continue to go top speed. Nice easy boss here, this earth golem, as you can see at the top there, or stone golem. We can see that there's like a little blue crystal. That is his weak spot, and good stuff for us. If we point our flamethrower staff at that blue crystal, it absolutely chonks his life, as you can see. So running up here, we grab this. Again, it's something that I've got into a habit of. Yes, it's costing me a couple of seconds here, there and everywhere. Maybe PC VR wise, because things are a bit more powerful there, you might be able to get away with doing this, because, you know, we are playing this Quest 3 standalone. This is all native gameplay. So, you know, mobile phone, headset, processor, yeah, what can you expect? What can you expect? So we're going to take this lift up. Lots of enemies, as you can see. So there's probably about 8, 10, 12 enemies behind us at this point, and they're all going to be staying there. They're not going to despawn. There's a particularly twat of a skeleton here that I make a point of dealing with, because doing this little skip to save a few seconds, he shot me out of the air before and sent me down, and it's not something that I want to do. I seem to have a massive problem throughout all of my gaming with skeletons. It started in Golden Axe. Golden Axe and skeletons, if you've played Golden Axe, you know exactly what I'm talking about, bloody skeletons. And now, for some reason, that trend in my gaming life seems to have followed me into VR. But it's no longer just normal, regular skeletons. No, no, no. Skeletons that give me a pain in the ass these days have got a bit of an upgrade, in that they're now archer skeletons. You can see all of those enemies back there still vying for my blood. But we'll grab that as well. Part of the reason why I make a point of grabbing little potions like this is if I take a hit, it saves me using my resources, and I can grab those off the floor nice and quick. Black Knight, quite an easy one here. We can use our infinite dodge to make sure that we're always out of his arc and always behind him. Keep the flamethrower pointed on him at all times. We're going to keep on dodging to his left and to his right and trying to stay in that optimal range. Some bosses seem to take more flame damage from headshots, others body shots, others it's a bit of a weird one. You kind of have to wiggle the flamethrower up and down to get maximum damage out of them. But again, Knight dispatched without any concerns there. Another lift to quickly go upwards. Another pedestal for us to save at just up the top here. Again, reset the stamina, that we don't need. Remember as well, every time we're doing this, we're also resetting all of our potions, so anything that we've quaffed and consumed is also refreshed, which is another massive, that's probably more important than the other two reasons. Stamina replens on its own. The enemies all being spawned up and behind you can impact game performance, but it's not always the end of the world. But as you can probably appreciate, during a speedrun, I don't want to take any chances with crashes happening. Can be a particularly nasty section, hence why I have the staff out. I've found sometimes that the enemies can be waiting for you at the top of that elevator. We get quite lucky here as well. Again, I've kept the staff out. You don't want to keep your weapons out whilst you're doing these things as well, because you actually move slower when you have the staff out, or when you have any weapon out. So you want to be hands-free as much as possible, but there are a couple of elements and sections where I'll have the staff out just in case. Now, you might see a little bit of that impact to performance that I was talking about here. I'm starting to kind of see it, and again, I think that's just down to the sheer amount of enemies. Talking of sheer amount of enemies, let's clear a couple. These two guys have been absolute wankers in the past. All I've got to do is pull that lever and get out of here, but they'll make a point of just being in the way. I've also have problems with these three as well. Their little configuration that they have here, I probably could have skipped past these guys, but I didn't really want to take any chances at this point, not this early in the run where I was doing okay. It was going reasonably well. We could have skipped past the archer here, but well, he gets barbecued as well. There is a ladder here. I know it's quite dark, you probably struggle seeing that. We want to be up the top here. Now there's another nice little skip coming up, just saves us having to combat a couple of enemies. Up onto the platform, jump across here, run along the wall, saves us having to fight those two, because you would have to fight them. Down onto here and then straight through the door. Again, I had the staff ready, but I heard that guy pull his arrow, which means that he was going to stand stock still. Again, I've had it where I'm running down there and he draws his sword, and then I've got to either lure him out or kill him, and it's probably just as quick to kill him as it is to lure him out without the risk. I should have pulled that lever. It's silly not to, because it takes me a second, and if I mess this boss up, it means that I can get back here, well, reasonably quickly. But then, having said that, there's interlinking shorts that I haven't done up until this point, so it probably wouldn't have made any odds. We always want to have a mana potion up, running and ready. You'll note that before I start a boss as well, I try and actually have the flame cast on the front of the staff, because that actually takes 10 mana, so you want to do that straight away. This class does have an element of mana regeneration, so we cast those fireballs, or we cast that so that we can set off the flame. Now this one has given me trouble from time to time, so we're going to play this one nice and easy with minimum of risk taking. When the hollowed one does his little pushing his hand forward and firing his dark magic out, he is completely susceptible to all sorts of attacks. He'll do that after a little while. He's got a bunch of attacks, and even with the life that I have, which isn't a massive amount in this build, I'll quite easily get one-shotted by this guy. But if you stay away from him, occasionally he'll reach to his face hole, pull out whatever that is, and start firing all the dark magic. As you can see, we've got lots of time here. I got a bit greedy there, possibly could have got punished. Wasn't going to get the finish before he gets his next strike in, didn't want to risk it. So, and again, being greedy here, it's those swipes that can finish me off in one, and that attack is also capable as well. Looking at the life bar now, putting those fireballs in, I still don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth the wasting mana, because the flamethrower just takes him out so quickly. But that in itself is already better than the last run. I died several times in the last run that I did to the hollowed one. Managed to get him first time there, which, if memory serves, is a bit of a theme during this one. So now here's our first problem. Because we now have to go back and see the herbalist to unlock Caracolia, we can go back here, but we can't teleport from here, and you'll also see that the gate's locked, because this is the first time that we've actually been to the tutorial area, because by going down to the Guardian at the bottom, the Warden rather, we've skipped all of this, so we have to get that door open. We don't need to talk to Riala, it won't change her positioning at this point. But by coming here now, you'll see that he starts talking, the herbalist, straight away about Caracolia. So we've actually missed quite a large part of tutorial-y, dialogue-y goodness, which, you know, you can skip, but there's lots of things for us to do here before we can get going. By advancing the story on without actually having to do it does, I believe, save us quite a bit of time here. So we'll get finished talking to the herbalist. I believe I get that lever open here because this isn't the first time we're going to have to come here as well. I think the time that we save is worth the additional time that we have to waste. We do have to talk to Riala though, I believe, because that is what opens the portal to Caracolia. Now, at this point, I was thinking, ooh, actually, if I kill her, that'll put me back to the pedestal, because it'll game over screen me. It'll put me back to the last saved pedestal. And then I thought, actually, no, I better not, because I haven't tested that. But that could have saved us quite a lot of time, and could have got us past the first major hurdle of this run. I mean, we had a little hurdle at the start, but you know. Now, we actually can't teleport down there because we've done the game out of turn order. It's messed up our teleport point, so we actually have to come back through here. I also then remember, oh yeah, I haven't done the first boss. He goes down reasonably quickly. The Guardian, not the Warden, the Guardian. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like flame, obviously. Not a big fan of flame. Now, as you can see, this area isn't loaded up. Now, I have found that if you run at it at that specific angle, if you have run it at that specific angle, the level loads up at the right time just as you're landing. That'll be a problem in a minute. And that little jump that I just made, I've made that jump 100 times and grabbed that stone, and that is unfortunately not too many times, but it is going to be a little bit of a recurring theme in this run, because we do have to go there a few times to get to be able to use the teleport point. Now, here's a problem. If the game doesn't load in time, you can get trapped in the floor, as I have. I can use my break. This is part of the reason why I've taken the recall amulet, I'd imagine it's called, which takes you back to the last spawn point that you were at. But we only get one use of that every 8 minutes, so if I have any glitches or any places that I think I could save a bit of time with, if I've already used it for a glitch, I'm not going to be able to use it to save time. Anyway, make that jump. That is always a scary jump. It's usually quite an easy one, but you can mess it up. So if you angle this correctly, you can make it, and sometimes you can jump out of it, which I've managed to do there. And again, I've made this jump 100 times. There we go, we actually managed to get it first time that time. Now, this has now become our kind of main hub. We have to come here instead of going home. So this is the drawback of doing the level skipping and the dialogue skipping that I've done. I don't know why we took full damage spawning here, but I don't know, maybe the game's not liking the order that I do. We run straight to the pier because we want to ring that bell, because old row your boat's going to take his time to get here. Whilst we're waiting, we might as well barbecue a few goblins. You know, we're not here, we're not in the business of killing enemies, but we ring that bell and that gets matey on his way. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to speed this up, so this is, what are we at here, 19 minutes 45 seconds? This is actually one of the longest sections. I don't think jumping on the boat speeds this up one iota, but you know, it's kind of hopeful. And you know, all the negotiation that I'm doing with this guy, if you could hear my actual microphone right now, to try and make him go faster, you know, pointing in the direction that we need to go, trying to G him up, trying to motivate him. But you know, the ferryman's he's a good man, but he's slow at his job. There has been, in the last speed run, I decided to take my staff out and use it as an oar to help paddle along here. I've since stopped doing that because there's been a couple of speed runs that I've absolutely sunk now, and the reason being is because as I was pissing about using my staff as a rod, I dropped it in the water. Then you have to teleport back home to get it, then you have to go and do that bit that I just showed you just to get back here. And I thought, no, we'll just stand at the prow and we'll just admire the scenery. This is actually a fantastic, it's slow as it is a fantastic section. I remember looking around here for the first time, not thinking like, oh yeah, this seems to be a theme of the game, where things that I can see in the distance are often places that I've been or places that I'm going to be visiting. I had no idea that we were going in that mansion. I thought this would just be a cave system the first time that I came into this part proper. So I'm sorting out my potions here to make sure that I've got the big mana potion ready, because we're actually going to be at the boss reasonably quickly. There's a very good skip coming up here, which basically allows you to skip, I'd say, definitely the hardest section of Caracolia, and it's very similar on the Dark Souls vibe. It's very similar to Blighttown in that there's lots of treachery, lots of nasty drops, not particularly nice enemies either. The goblins are easy to do, but orcs can be an absolute pain. I'm obviously one, or I think they're all goblins in this apparently, but some bigger than others. Look like orcs to me. So again, we're going to crush this shard just because it's part of the muscle memory now. I want to make sure if there's anything behind me, it resets and just keeps the performance of the game running. There's times when it won't look like there's anything juddering going on. This is part and parcel of the recording beauty of what I do, is that you don't get to see the performance drops in the game often. I'll see them a lot in headset. If you start seeing them, know that I'm really struggling here. And I found that if you run and just do a dash and you've got a decent amount of movement and you time your dash right, you can get straight across there. That skipped out the nasty part of Caracolia, which could obviously be ridiculously time consuming. You don't always get trapped here. I've started flamethrowing just to make sure that I'm, you know, rinsing down some of the enemies, but ultimately we were luring them back there to get past. Sometimes you can skip past that, other times the enemies do come out. Again, same with that one. Any enemies that you see me killing here are ones that have ruined my speed runs before, and what, 23 minutes in? It's not a great time to have it spoil. We do pull that lever because it can be quite easy to be overwhelmed right here as well, and it would, if we did die, it would be a relatively easy, quick way to get back here. That one little lever allows us to go straight from the spawn point straight to the boss. I mess around here, if I remember rightly, because I've used all my mana now, so I'm trying to top my mana back off before, and trying to do it without using my big potion. Meanwhile, old Grub, he is, you know, getting ready to stove my face in, but I think I managed to get it, yeah, just in time. And then again, another enemy that we're able to quite easily circle around. You'll also see that because I have the staff out in front of me, it actually parries a lot of enemies and bosses' hits. So we've kind of got this shield that's parrying with the staff, as well as doing the flamethrower thing. Too long, didn't read. Magic is fucking broken in any Dark Souls game. I can't think of many Dark Souls-like games where magic isn't broken. The flamethrower is particularly broken in this. There is probably better magic, but I find it is the most mana effective and most mana efficient, and does a hell of a lot of damage, and not only that, it's consistent across everything. So again, we're going to save here because there's a lot of enemies behind us still from where Caracolia's lower realms were, and now we're up here. Another nice little skip, easy one to do. You can dash across here, but it's probably safer to jump. You can also then dash, I'm doing a lot of the bunny hopping. Be careful though, there's a little gap, I point to it there. If you dash into that, it'll punt you off that bridge so fucking fast it'll make your head spin. I know this because I have failed speedruns doing this previously. Foreshadowing, should have pulled that fucking lever, would have saved me about 10 seconds, because we don't wreathe ourselves in glory here. Well, it would have saved us more than 10 seconds. There'll be times as well where you'll see me slow down and just do the hops. Now, just doing the little dash hops is faster when sprinting, but it's obviously faster than walking when not sprinting. So, if you see me stop, it's me trying to... I should have killed him. I should have killed him. If you see me stop, it's me trying to
for as long as I can
hold on to my stamina and regen my stamina, whilst knowing that I'm coming up to a particularly nasty bit. So what I usually do at that section, but I must have been feeling a bit spicy there, is I will kill a couple of the enemies on the way down there, and that spear wielder, I have been killed many times. Look, see, now I've just, what a great idea, because that saves me having to do that skip. So, but that skip itself saves quite a massive chunk of time as well. That's a nice easy one to perform. We head back to where we were. I don't think I managed to get the lever, so this is that slow. I'm slowing down here to make sure that I've got enough stamina to give the guys down here the run around. And then ideally what we want to do is, what I've done previously is just pull this lever and let it respawn and bring me back here. I get this guy, I make a point of pulling the lever, seeing that I'm going to get swarmed, and I almost make it out, but not quite. Flamethrower is good in that situation. If I'd have held the flamethrower on those guys, I might have killed enough. I've squeezed out of that gap a few times before. But again, that's, you know, there's probably about maybe a minute wasted here. So, I mean, I can looking back at this now, because me recording this is the first time I look back at it. There's a lot of times where, you know, I'm like, oh man, could have saved some time here. So, but now that we've pulled that lever, we can go straight to the boss. So now none of the enemies are a concern to us. So, yeah, nice and clean. You can dash down these stairs as well, but you do have to be careful with doing that, because the amount of fall distance that the game gives before you take damage is sillily low. So whilst these guys are all doing their dialogue, you can attack them and kill them. Can't do anything to the magistrate yet, or the potato. She's gonna get barbecued the same as everybody else. So the magister, you can kill her guards whilst they're in dialogue. You then have to wait for her. Again, this is going to be a reasonably simple exercise. Keep the flamethrower pointed at the bint, and she will burn eventually. We want to stop when she gets that puff of smoke. We want to stop our flamethrower at that point just to conserve our mana. Look around quickly when she does that. You can often get the jump on her as we did there. Don't know why I stopped chugging my mana potions, but as soon as smoke disappears, you need to be looking quickly to find her again. By getting on top of her straight away, you can avoid a lot of the time her getting her zombie spawns done. So reasonably quick work of her. Don't actually kill her. You come across her a couple of times, don't kill her. she's coming up later. We'll get her. We'll get her. So arms out in front of us when you come near these doors. Best technique I've found for opening doors. Wouldn't you believe it? Putting your arms out in front of you and opening the wood. So, and you'll see a kind of recurring theme of me climbing as well, is not actually using the rungs, but using the sides of the ladder. I just find it an easier grab. We can be reasonably quick through here. Didn't have to do a fucking circuit there for some reason. We can do some nice little dashes down here to save ourselves a little time. No, I know that there's a save point below us. This is the other thing that the save point do as well. Not only do they top off all of our potions, get rid of all the enemies behind us that have spawned, and reset our stamina, but also they obviously, you know, it's a free heal. So simple things. Now we want to be straight around here, hands out, get that door open. And you'll see we're doing a lot of bouncing. Now, on the bouncing front, what I have found, when you've got unlimited dodge, that 120% chance of getting your dodge back when you used it, it's something that you can put together in the first couple of levels, or the first couple of new game pluses. I think you need about 40 points in your tech tree to be able to do it all. And it just allows you to go really fast in some sections, and the technique that I'm going for is I'm just tapping it over and over again. Sometimes it's almost like multiple taps go together. That's the shortcut, and part of the reason why I've come back to this save point is there's a whole host of enemies behind us right now. This, of course, resets them all and stops them, you know, spawning and being behind us. And Fidelixia, oh, you are usually such a nightmare. I tried to steal her swords because, you know, if we can disarm her, that would be a start. Now, I've found a particularly good technique with Fidelixia in that if we hide behind the pillar, she can't actually get us with a lot of our attacks. Don't be right next to the pillar, because she can get through the pillar, but the pillar here, as you can see, is blocking her from doing quite a lot. Our flamethrower, as you'll be able to see as well, passes through the pillar, and I'm just going back and forward and keeping that pillar very close just to make sure that we don't get touched. And as you'll hopefully see here in just a second, you can flamethrower her and do damage through the pillar. I don't think I'm trusting myself that it works at the moment. I'm just making sure that we get this one done. So she's in her second form now. Both forms, yeah, there you go, through the pillar, and the damage is, I believe, chocking away. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, that's kind of around the pillar, isn't it? But I do believe it does work through the pillar as well. And basically what we're trying to do here, keep that pillar between us and them, and just keep on flamethrowing. And that's a very hard boss that, again, is capable of quite easily one, maybe two-shotting me at this point. Dealt with. We need the emblem. Now we can, this is another part of why this skip works, we can now go straight to the warden room because we've already done all of everything down there. So not only has it helped us skip some dialogue, but arguably it's helped us out a little bit because we can go straight from here. This is where we have to charge the amulet with the warden's blood. This is a simple find it in the menu, try not to go past it, you fucking idiot. Find it in the menu, grab, hold trigger whilst holding it, suck up all that juicy goodness off of the floor, pop it back in, and that's our key. Now, to activate the next bit, we have to head back to home. Now, I was saying about how, because I've interfered with the order of things, the way that we have to do things. Again, looking back at the footage, I've like had a little look through. Looking back at the footage, this is kind of the first time that I'm watching it in its entirety whilst I'm chatting with you guys. And I'm pretty sure, I'll have to go and have a look at the other video at some point, but I'm pretty sure this is where we save a lot of time. The whole not dying on bosses a lot, spoilers, has helped with refining the time. So we need to chat to the herbalist here. If we don't chat to the herbalist, the door that we need the amulet for won't be able to be activated. So we need to chat to him. We also need to chat to Fidelixia as well. Not Fidelixia, that's Julian's Riala. He says that so many times in this game. I've heard it so many times. So we need to chat to Riala here because the herbalist tells us to, and it's these two conversations that then allow us to progress the game. So again, note she is now not standing by the herbalist at the bottom. His dais at the top. She's always going to be here now for the rest of the game. This is part of the problem that I've found. For some reason I thought it'd be a great idea to go through this door. I can't remember if it's any quicker or not. I don't think so. Again, we could have killed Riala to get teleported back. Interestingly, I haven't tried that, and it's something that I could do to, as I said, save some time, because it's this section here, the transition from an area that isn't loaded up. God, that jump. I know it doesn't look risky, it fucking is, but this section here, if I could use the homeward bound amulet to avoid this and getting caught. So we get caught here. My pendant has charged, so thankfully I've been able to reload it. Again, every time that I've done this bit, that hasn't happened if I do it a specific way. I've been doing it that specific way, and I don't know, I always talk during my live streams about the additional performance drain that recording and streaming puts on the headset, and maybe this is, part of the problem is that this isn't loading up fast enough now for me to be able to make this little drop down. I tried jumping here thinking that might be a better idea because I haven't tried that before, and that's actually made it worse because we were going down faster because we gained more height. So quick thinking on my feet, I thought, oh crap, well the only thing that I can do is go back to the menu and continue and just try again and hope that this just doesn't fucking kill the run. So possibly that might have ended up with the performance reset that we need. As you can see now, I'm panicking because, oh no, my speedrun, oh man, this is like, at this point I don't even know if I'm on for a good time yet because I haven't got a timer in the background. I almost managed to throw myself off the edge here because I'm trying to make up time that we've just wasted by having to go back to the main menu. I'll be honest as well, going back to the main menu and coming back in here felt like a fucking eternity when I was doing it. So very hesitant, and we actually got it. It loaded up in time there. So I then realised, fuck, I don't need to go this way. And you remember that jump that I can always make every time, every single time I can make that jump. It's a really easy jump, grabbing that stone, and so the panics of a speed run, because at this point it's quite a lot of work. The other thing to note as well is if I fuck this speed run up, I would then have to complete the game again. I would also then make the game 10% harder for myself each time I have to restart. So it then means that I have to level up again and try and level up to maximum. Now thankfully this time we did it. I tried the jump again. I make this jump every single bloody time, and it's shocking the amount of times that I miss this. Although, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm a fucking idiot. Fool me 3 times, are we going to do it a 3rd time? I don't think I am. I can't remember, I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure. I think, you know what, I'll just climb. It's like a couple of seconds saved. And the thing is as well, I'm also chancing this bit not loading in. So that's alright, turn around. Now we'll just have a quick shake of the head and climb it fucking properly like a real person would do. So again, part of the problem with the skips that we've done up until this point is we have to get back to the warden room to be able to go anywhere. So as you'll see at the warden room pedestal, all of the options are here. I know I'm not going to do it during a speed run, obviously, but if I went to the home pedestal, whilst doing all of this, the only thing that would be there would be the gem to crush to reset the area. So this is where we need the amulet, infused with the giant's blood. Again, I hate that if you miss it first time round, you can't go back. Hold it, hold trigger, that gets you through to the final area. Again, a lot of Dark Souls inspiration. You know, we've had our equivalent of Blighttown in the downstairs Caracolia. This is very much a Athelloran, I think it was. God, it's been a while since I played Dark Souls. Lovely little skip there. You can squeeze through the fence. Saves you having to go around. Saves a few seconds. We're bouncing quite nicely here. All that dash bounce in and chaining them together. I've practiced the technique a fair bit. It seems to be a bit hit and miss, so it's not something that you can pull off with skill. You basically got to keep on, from what I can gather anyway, keep on mashing that dodge button. We can jump across here to save another couple of seconds. Yeah, keep mashing that dodge button when you've got the dodge skills to 120%. It's refunding us a dodge guaranteed every time we use one, so it doesn't matter how many dodges we can do. We've basically gone infinite on dodges. Speeds things up. The other interesting thing to note as well is when you're sprinting, you're using stamina. If you're not sprinting but doing the little bunny hops, you're moving slightly faster than just normally walking, whilst conserving your stamina and replanning it. So that's obviously quite a boon to the old speedrun side of things. I've got a couple of speed movement boosts in the menus of this character, so this section can be a little bit of a nightmare. Lots of choke points, lots of nasty enemies, lots of easy places to fall down. That wasn't a fall though, that was a skip. If you aim for the sarcophagus lid, you can kind of bounce off of it. Saves you taking half as much damage as you would normally take from dropping down there, so that's a reasonably easy skip. It just saves you having to go around and down the stairs. And now we're on our way back up. Take a massive axe swing from one of those enemies there, one of them catching you and knocking you back, and then the others kind of surrounding you again has sent me back to the last checkpoint. And it can end speedruns, it really can. So I do make a point of doing that lever because I've had problems down here before as well. Those skeletons have pegged me back a good few times. This bit is a bit risky. There's a lot of enemies loaded up at this point, and you have to do some, not precision jumping, but you have to land without getting knocked off the edge. And again, I was a bit more hesitant than I usually am on that point because I've dropped all the way down to here from the top, and that will kill you. Pull this lever, gets the door open behind us. We don't have to wait for matey to get up, and we can be straight through this door, straight down this corridor, and we're on. So again, lots of hopping and a skipping and a jumping whilst we're sprinting, and it's about now that I would be running out of stamina from that last section. So now we're just hopping as we're going up the stairs and around here. So you can see where I'm just hopping, but it's still a little faster than walking. I'm making sure that I've got a decent amount of stamina for this part, because these bastards will jump at you, and then you know you're also taking potential crossbow bolt shots from them as well. If you take a crossbow bolt shot and it staggers you back, you move forward, and then one of those giants leap on you, well, you're going back quite a long way at this point. Again, you might see a little bit of frame rate dipping here and there now. If I remember rightly, at this point in the headset, things were getting real fucking bad, and so we need a save point to be able to just reset everything behind us and make sure the game doesn't crash, because yeah, you're not supposed to play GrimLord this way. You know, I don't think it's designed for speed running in mind. Although having said that, some of the skips that I have found do feel quite purposely placed. Like, I don't know, maybe the devs thought that some idiot like me might come along and go, ooh, can I get this complete in under an hour? We shall see. So we've got our reset there. That should help our performance somewhat. So we are also coming up on the 45-minute mark. So at this point now, if memory serves, and as we know it often doesn't, we've got 3 more bosses to do, 2 proper ones, and then kind of like the end boss. The next one isn't going to give us too much of a problem. There's a little bit of platforming coming up here, which could, nice little, tiny little skip here where you can jump up onto all these wooden beams and get across. It just saves us crossing the ladder. Arguably, climbing the ladder might have, actually looking back at it now, been quicker. Doing those little bunny hops almost sent me off the edge there. That was a lot closer than it looks in the footage. I think my heart was definitely in my mouth, because that's quite a ways to go back. We'd have to do the ladder section again using the sides of the ladder as opposed to the rungs, because I just find it a little bit more consistent with the climbing. I've tried some different routes down here to try and make things a little bit faster and a little bit less deadly, but I think just being fast along these pillars is, and these beams rather, is best for us. You can skip off here to the right, but I think that's quicker. You can also skip across down the stairs as well, but as you can see, I'm reaching for the health potion because I haven't checked my life here, because I'm trying not to. We've already taken a bit of damage getting down here, and I didn't want to chance it. I've lost my way a little bit there, but eventually remember that it's down the stairs that we're going. That's not the door. I make a point of finding that's the way that we're going. I make a point of coming back here and just unlocking this little skip, because we do not want to have to do that entire section again. And this, you remember that memory serves thing that I was talking about? This is the boss that I forgot about. I always make a point of grabbing this as well. That's a flawless source stone. Those are one of the key components that you need for a lot of the boss weapons. If I may continue doing this run to do additional new game pluses, so I always make a point of picking those up because they're quite rare. We can again kill the boss's guards here whilst he's doing his dialogue. That if you can do them fast, that speeds things up a little bit. Just making a point of checking my stamina and my life and my mana here, making sure we've got a full mana bar after dealing with those guys. Part of the reason why I've got my knives out here, and as you can see with the attributes, the reason why I'm carrying them is so that I can increase my mana regen on the fly. It's the royal handle or guard that does that. It just ups your mana regen a little bit. We could be holding the dagger in our hand, but I found that it's better. I've still got the daggers just in case I need them when I'm doing actual runs, but for the speed runs I very rarely use them to top up the mana. We want to be keeping this flamethrower going up to hit the bishop on his little seat there. It goes through the armor, the flamethrower side of things, and again it's another one of those bosses where we can get away with circling using our dodges. Remember, our little dodge skip things have invincibility frames. They're the equivalent of rolling. In Dark Souls there's a very tiny window, but there are invincibility frames with them. That's the old bishop dispatched without too much trouble for a change. Nice that you're able to give him a quick whack as well when he goes down. Getting this platform to go up first time straight away can be a bit of a chore. Another reset, because again, remember, we've got a lot of enemies behind us at this point. That's our mana, our health, our stamina, and enemies all reset. Now we're going out onto another area that's going to have a lot of enemies. Nice long run sections here without too many bottlenecks, so we can get away with going and doing our skipping thing, and you can use your stamina bar from one save point here all the way to the next without having to stop, which obviously keeps the speed in this speed run. Skip between those two guards there. I usually make a point of grabbing that health potion just in case I have taken any damage. You'll see that I do a little jump here, and that's the full distance that you can take damage from. Absolutely ridiculous sometimes. I've died from less, so when you're on lower health. There's a couple of enemies just up here which have ended speed runs again, so there's a special place in hell for them. It involves getting barbecued. this guy in particular, the amount of times that I think I'm past him, because you can't run up the stairs and you can't do the skip thing quite as fast as anywhere else. And so as you're trying to skip past him, he can often lunge for you. And, you know, a lot of the times here, it's 1, maybe 2 hits, and we're out. That's the way that I've done the build. Glass cannon, maximum speed, maximum damage, health, a little lacking. So this was the boss that I thought I was talking about when I said, so that we're coming up to last 3 here. Again, checking my mana just to make sure that that's topped up after casting or activating the staff. Once she activates, this one's quite an easy one. We can barbecue her, as is the style of the times in GrimLord during my speedruns. And if we keep our staff out, and it's pushing it down and to the left occasionally, which then allows us to block her sword, you'll see that I'm making slight tweaks to the left to make sure that she can't attack me. If she gets that first swipe in, she can launch into a combo. We don't want that. We want her to sit there and fry in her armor, and if you can do that for us, that'll be grand. This is the same Magister or Magistrate, whatever you want to call her, that we've taken on a couple of times. This time, she burns. She burns good. So, again, the fact that you can put the afters in on the boss whilst they're doing their dialogues, chef's kiss. Nice touch, devs. I very much enjoy doing that. Again, getting these platforms to activate, I've tried multiple times. Sometimes it depends on it coming off of them and going back on them. Sometimes they'll activate, other times they won't. I've never spent long here, but, you know, again, another place that we can save. Oh, empty bottle. We're going to need to refill that. That'll be a save point then. But I check my mana here because I always try and make sure that my mana's on full. I think I'm just checking my regen rate with my daggers to make sure that that's actually still happening. Once we get down this huge lift, we're then on the last section of the game. We're at 15 minutes. There's only 10 minutes to play with. It's going to be tight. So you can hop and a skip and jump down here, but you do have to be careful because, again, like I took 4 damage there, and I don't know, man. I think my stairs are higher than that drop. So just one stair, and I don't remember taking the last time I climbed down the stairs and took damage. But hey, GrimLord be GrimLording, so we can skip past all of these guys. This area is actually quite sparse. The cant of the ground is just so that you don't take any full damage. This guy, I love the fact that he gets a rock off and that you can push it around as well. Brilliant. Brilliant little touches. Look, it's the little things in these kind of games. It's the little things. So, again, performance looks like it might be tanking a little bit here, so this might be quite an intensive area, along with the fact that we have run past quite a lot of enemies down here. Another nice bit of fall damage. Great room, this one that we just went through, because there's a spawn point here. Great room for farming if you are after matter. I keep calling them souls because Dark Souls, but great room for farming matter that we just went past there. When you get to this point, you can then kind of power level. This is the end boss, and unfortunately, and I have tried, this scene is unskippable, so we are going to have to listen to the, well, he looks very much like what I'd imagine the God Emperor, maybe a little on the short side, but if that ain't the God Emperor's armor, I don't know what is. Absolutely cool boss. The GrimLord himself is probably one of the finest bosses that I've actually fought in a VR game. And, you know, I've been playing VR games for a very long time. I include the stuff that I did recently in the Behemoth live streams. Those are some excellent and epic bosses, but this one felt like a fight as opposed to a series of events, like, you know, a Behemoth fight. Fights, as you can see, were chained up here. I have found that if you move around in your play space, because usually whilst I'm doing this, I grab a quick drink, or have a quick vape, or what have you. I have found if you move around your play space and come back to this, when he does his attack, he can kill you instead of chopping the chains. It doesn't waste too much time, but, you know, we'll nod and agree with all the stuff that he's saying, and then wait for him to do his sword strike. And all you actually have to do at this point is make sure you stand where you're supposed to be standing and put your arms up, and he will chop them chains up for you and unleash the beast that is our flamethrowery goodness. I have tried a number of techniques to try and skip this as well, because there is no way to hold trigger and skip the dialogue. This is like a set one, including going back to the main menus and seeing what happens, but you have to listen to him. So again, no surprises, flamethrower all the way here. We want to be always dodging to his right, and what I've learnt now is when he starts doing that combo, I don't want to be anywhere near it. We have to make a point of dodging that last hit. Now there is I don't get it during this run, but you'll see that I'm trying to move away from him, because there is a point where he'll slowly saunter towards you doing nothing, if you can find the right point, and then you can slowly walk backwards and flamethrower him down. This is the crux of it, though. This is the big part. You want to make sure that you're full mana during his transformation, so from small sword to big sword, so that we can really get the damage in. Didn't work out for us on this occasion, so I'm making sure that I'm up to top mana, and you will see that I have deployed the shield, because this boss can give me massive problems, and I've found that having that shield whilst flamethrowing just is enough to put him on his ass very quickly. Now, at this point, I'm waiting for, again, non-skippable dialogue from the old God Emperor here. I can move his blade from him, because we don't want him picking that back up. We're waiting for, well, a little bit further, maybe. Hey. We are waiting for him to finish his dialogue. We're then going to go back to the save point so that we can top off the mana flasks that we've used. There is, again, afters-wise, love it. We're going to go back to that save point, top up our flasks. Come on, get that mist out of my way. And we are then going to head on to what is the end boss, the actual end boss of the game. This one, believe it or not, is going to be a little bit different. Are we going to use the flamethrower? No, but we're going to use the flame staff. You're damn right we are. Again, careful with your hops and your skips down there, because you can take a silly amount of damage going down those. We do have to flamethrower, because it's the quickest way, flamethrower these priests off. That then breaks whatever they're doing to contain that crystal. That unleashes our man down here, and we'll then be able to get the game finished up. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got full mana at this point, using my smaller potions, so that we've then got the big potion to top off with as we're firing. So what we're going to be doing here, instead of getting all up and near him, we're going to be firing fireballs at him, and that is a quick circle starting from the right and moving around to the left and firing off. Now again, I've practiced this quite a lot, and there is a technique that you can do where you'll see I get it sometimes here, but nowhere near as often as I used to, where you can chain multiple fireballs off quite quickly. We do need to flamethrower these guys. They're very low HP though, so they go down very fast. And I don't know why I can usually chain these fireballs something wrong, and I didn't have any problems with doing it in the last time I did a speedrun, but for some reason the chaining technique that I've used previously just, I don't know, I'd love to say it's nerves, but we've already had that. We've already had the nerves. They're gone now. We're like at the end point. I mean, we are getting pretty close to that hour mark, as you can see. So, but again, am I going to do it? Am I not? It depends on where I decide to end it. This one felt painful and quite taxing on my arm. That little spinning motion and trying to get those fireballs. I might have been better off just ensuring that every cast worked properly. I'm probably missing 2 casts for every one that I get off. So it's not any faster, but you can get it so multiple flick off at the same time, just by slowly circling the wand and then tapping trigger. Again, don't know if it's intended, doesn't feel like it is. I think there's something to do with your movement as well, because I'm looking back at this now and seeing that I'm not doing a lot of strafing. So yeah, maybe the pressure is getting to me, and that's boss defeated. There's nothing more. I don't know why I'm topping up on mana, but the thing is, we do need to get rid of one of these now because we want to pick up the stone here. This is what we need. Little kiss of the I shouldn't kiss that. I don't know where it's been. I don't know what properties it even has. That can't be good for the mouth. But that's the stone that we need to complete the game. So we're now going to sprint back and teleport home as quickly as we can at just over 59 minutes. It's going to be cutting it very fine. So couple of things, because I've only got to this point at the speedrun a handful of times now while speedrunning it, and I come up to the top here expecting to be able to plant the stone down straight away, and instead I've got to do dialogue. So we then end up having to do his dialogue. I'm expecting it to come up then, it doesn't. I'm now at this point thinking, oh shit, what step have I missed? Is it because I need to talk to him? I don't fucking know. And yeah, and then I was like, right, so it's not well, I've got to check, haven't I? Because, you know, we might be close to the hour mark here. I don't fucking know at this point. And it's actually Riala that you need to chat to, and I've just completely forgot that. Chat to her, she then allows you to make your choices with the stone, with the zeitgeist matter. And the quickest, in my experience, to get off is the herbalist. Now, I mean, she doesn't. Do you want it? No? Okay. All right, let's get it to the herbalist. Quick, quick, go, 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 go. And the reason why I go for the herbalist choice is because it is the quickest, and that's herbalist down. And now, unfortunately, you'll see that I haven't ended the timer yet because I don't consider that game complete. You could say that once the zeitgeist is in his hand, that's game complete, but we've got some dialogue to skip through here, and he takes an awful long time, and there. That's where I would stop it, when it fades to black at that point and the end triggers. Quick one for the devs here, just in case they're watching as well. I don't know why, but the ending screen and the cool story always seems to come behind me. I don't know why it doesn't put it in front of the player's face instead of a specific point, but maybe something to have a look at. And so there we have it. 1 hour 39 seconds. Ugh. So as you can see, there's a lot of other places where if we hadn't failed at certain sections during the run, and if the game hadn't failed a little bit on me at certain sections in the run, then we should have been able to get that under an hour. Not much more, and I don't think there's much more that I can do with time. My next trick will be to try and do the speed run with that level of efficiency and then some, with doing it the actual way as opposed to this alternate way, and then seeing how we go. Anyway, hopefully you've all enjoyed that. Thanks very much for watching. Worth mentioning quickly as well that there is an update due out for the aforementioned GrimLord, adding an arena mode to the game, but it's going to be a little bit more than just a horde mode arena, and it's actually going to be integrated into the game as well, into the actual story, which is quite exciting. Hopefully the update doesn't get rid of any of my precious skips, so that I can continue trying to refine my timings down. Other than that, cheers.